And so many of you are coming into this online space thinking you need to change everything about yourself to be worthy to be paid for your services, when really you need to change the way you see your lovability, the way you see your worthiness.
You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in.
Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the pod. I am Jill Perrick, your host, your business and mindset coach, and imposter syndrome expert. And this episode is a good one. I can't wait to dive into it with you. But before we do that, let me tell you how you can work with me for the rest of 2023. I have been making some incredible subconscious mind resources as of late, and at the link in my show notes, at the click here link, you will find the page where all of my subconscious mind bundles are listed. One of my favorite bundles that I just released is the Boss Bundle, which are 4 hypnosis tracks on overcoming imposter syndrome, eliminating comparison, having confidence in sales, and showing up for your business and money mindset. So this bundle is only $44, and you can purchase it, like I said, at the link in my show notes. And currently I am loving the coaching that I am doing with clients in Voxer. And now you can work with me in Voxer coaching for 3 months. So we start with a 90-minute deep dive, and then we get to work in Voxer. I coach my clients on worthiness in sales and with money, working through imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, and limiting beliefs that are all negatively impacting your business. And I help you grow your business to 5-figure months and 6-figure years using content that is easy to create and converts, as well as feel-good sales strategies. So head to the show notes where you can apply or send me a DM at your Coach Jill, and let's chat. Now let's get into the episode. So I once had a one-to-one client who had already made 6 figures in her business. And during our session, she said, "Oh, I'm in pajamas right now. I've been in pajamas all day. I should be more put together." And even though it was just a passing comment, I asked her what she meant by that. And she said that 6-figure coaches don't wear pajamas all day. And I just thought that that was so funny. And it isn't in the way that I was laughing at her, but I was laughing at the fact that so many of us come from corporate backgrounds like this client and I do. And we think that quitting our jobs and running our own businesses will free us from those chains of restriction and professionalism and what we make that mean. And really, we always bring those things with us. I asked her, what if you were told about how many millionaires sit around in sweatpants all day? Because the truth is, there are so many entrepreneurs that dress in a very polished and put together way, and there are also so many entrepreneurs, me included, who wear athletic gear and yoga pants and sweatpants and take calls on Zoom all day just like that. And don't get me wrong, when I get dressed up and I do my hair and my makeup and I record things, like, it feels good. But the quality of my coaching, or how good I feel about myself, does not change if I'm in sweatpants with no makeup on. Both of these things can be true, but my client was using the fact that she wasn't being professional as a dig against herself and her identity. And it really was just an innocent comment, truly. She just wanted to say it and move on. However, I asked her to stay there because I think it was an important lesson on identity. We use our own identity and the way that we are against ourselves all the time. So for the longest time, I told myself that because I stutter, I am not a good communicator or speaker, and successful entrepreneurs are good speakers. And do you see how I immediately canceled myself out from thinking of myself as a successful entrepreneur because of that one thing? Now, let's take it a step further. If I believe that I am not a successful entrepreneur, what will that do to my content creation and how I show up? How will that impede the thoughts I have about myself and what I'm capable of doing? Identity work is so much of the work that I do with my clients because how you see yourself is the beginning, it's the middle, and the end of everything you will create. And so many of you are coming into this online space thinking you need to change everything about yourself to be worthy to be paid for your services, when really you need to change the way you see your lovability, the way you see your worthiness. You are and always have been worthy. That hasn't changed. Your ability to see yourself as worthy, that is what has changed when you begin creating the results that you want to create. You were always worthy, just now you see it and you allow yourself to be enough. And you allow yourself to receive at this level of enough. Does this make sense? So with that being said, we keep ourselves in a rut. We keep ourselves stuck by believing that our next level selves, our highest version of ourselves, is someone completely different than who we are now, when really our highest selves are just us with different thoughts. And this has always been my issue with highest self work. I once had a coach who had us do an exercise that was like the highest version of ourselves, who had everything we wanted. Like I'm talking like private planes kind of rich here. And while the exercise was super fun and exciting at the time, I was living in a rental, working my full-time job, and just starting to bring in consistent money into my business. I couldn't reconcile how I was going to get from where I was to that place. And of course, when we're manifesting, the how isn't important. But when we're working towards our goals and improving ourselves, I think it's very important to be able to see ourselves in the goals we're trying to attain.
Hey guys, I hope you're loving today's episode. I am just taking a brief pause in today's episode to share with you a client testimonial. These testimonials are either from group coaching clients or clients who are in my one-to-one coaching program. And I can't wait for you to hear how I have changed their lives and their businesses for the better.
I really felt unworthy of my success. I didn't have a strategy and I really needed help. And after 6 months of working with Jill, I feel clear about my business. I'm in love with my business and my clients. I made my biggest month ever in July, which was 15K, and I was able to take the whole month of August off and travel to see my family that I haven't been able to see in 2.5 years due to COVID.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Now let's get back to the episode.
A lot of my clients come to me with a lot of self-judgment and shame. So thinking that who we are isn't enough whatsoever is just another way that shame shows up for you when it comes to thinking of your highest self. How you remove the shame is to deliberately think about who you are now, what you do, and how you do things. And how does this work perfectly for you right now? How is it good enough now? How are you good enough now? Take what works and leave the rest. What are you proud of that you do right now that you know your highest self will also do? Like, listen, I really love being comfortable, especially with sensory sensitivities as someone who has ADHD. So, like I said, I'll get dressed up for events. That stuff is fun. But in my day-to-day, I like wearing cute little matching sets, nice yoga pants, comfy clothes. And just like my client, I had to look at what my thoughts were about professionalism and what it meant about me. And what I realized was I can make multiple six figures from my bed, from my couch, in comfy clothes, and I don't have to define professionalism by how I look. I get to decide that the way I look every day is worthy and deserving of everything that I want. So let's go back to the example of being a good communicator and speaker to be successful. I could look at what I thought good meant, which is never stumbling over words like I'm doing now, or never stuttering, or whatever. But real people do stumble over their words. And what does being a good speaker have to do with being successful? There are so many hidden meanings and assumptions we give to our ideas and opinions, and that's why I love doing what I do with my clients, because we completely rip apart everything that they think and know and redefine what it means to be successful, what it means to be wealthy, what it means to be good enough. Because once you decide that you are good enough as you are and that you can receive as you are, that is when the floodgates really open up. And at the end of the day, what I really want to drive home to you in this episode is that you get to make everything mean something that suits you and your life and your growth and your happiness. You are allowed to challenge the rules and stories that you grew up with and subscribe to, and you can just choose to not subscribe to them. One of my past coaches was really into really fancy branding and clothing, and how she dresses herself is really important to her. And if I felt unworthy, I would have made that mean that I won't be as successful as her because I cared less about how I dressed and therefore wasn't professional. But fuck that shit. It was just another way that I would have decided that I wasn't good enough. Be aware of all the ways your brain tries to convince you that you aren't good enough. So how do you believe that you're enough? You look at who you are and your current identity with love, compassion, and free from self-judgment and shame. And you look at personal development and growth and inner work as a way for you to just amplify those parts of yourself that you love, rather than eliminate the parts of you that you dislike. Specifically, if you are trying to step into the identity of a six-figure coach, or even a coach who just makes fucking money, where are you telling yourself that you don't fit the bill? And how can you challenge that? How can you question that? What would a coach that makes money look like and be like? How can you use that for growth and expansion instead of shame and contraction? These are good questions for you to ask yourselves. So I want you to write that shit down and then DM me on Instagram to let me know how it goes. And like I said, head to the show notes so you can purchase one of my amazing subconscious reprogramming bundles. I definitely recommend getting started with the Boss Hypnosis bundle, which has hypnosis tracks on the cornerstones of business: imposter syndrome, comparison, confidence in sales, and money mindset. And for those of you who are seeking mentorship with me, you can apply to work with me in one-to-one Voxer coaching, where we meet for a 90-minute deep dive and then we work together in Voxer for 3 months. And that application is at the link in my show notes, or you can send me a DM on Instagram at YourCoachJill and we can chat about it. Okay? I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.